Hi everyone, welcome to Stony Brook Live. My name is Lauren Sanjamino. I'm an Assistant Director of Admissions here at Stony Brook University. I'm joined by Erica Benhart, who is an undergraduate college advisor, and she's also an advisor for the National Student Exchange Program. We are going to be discussing a lot of things today, from what are the undergraduate colleges, to orientation and all of the steps that are needed in order to enroll. So we will get started with undergraduate colleges. Also, if you have any questions along the way, definitely feel free to chat those in and we'll answer them as we go. So Erica, what are the undergraduate colleges and how do they impact the freshman year?
So the undergraduate colleges are Stony Brook's first year experience program. So all incoming first year students go through this program, and it's set up to help you make that transition from high school to Stony Brook University. It reduces the psychological size of Stony Brook by taking the freshman class of around 3,000 and putting them into 6 undergraduate colleges of approximately 500 students. Within those 6 undergraduate colleges of 500 students, every undergraduate college has a college advisor like myself. And you'll note that we don't call ourselves academic advisors. We call ourselves college advisors because you can come to us for everything and anything that you have problems with, have issues, have questions about, are concerned about. Anytime during your first year here. And we also work with a faculty director as well as a quad director and a commuter student assistant liaison. So our main 3 goals in the undergraduate colleges for the first year experience program is to help you connect to the university, connect to your peers, connect to faculty and staff here. We want to help you plan, obviously for your first semester here, but also for your second semester and all 4 years while you're here. And we want to help you kind of expand and help you step outside of your comfort zone and maybe introduce you to new ideas, resources, and opportunities that Stony Brook has to offer.
Excellent. What are the 6 undergraduate colleges?
So they are, keep in mind, theme-based. So as I tell you the names of them, try not to think, well, based on my major, that's where I belong. Because regardless of what your major is, you can go into any undergraduate college. Just remember, again, this is theme-based, not major-based. So the first one is Arts, Cultures, and Humanities. That's also the red undergraduate college. There's Global Studies, which is orange. There's Human Development, which is my undergraduate college, which is purple. There's Information and Technology Studies, which is yellow. Leadership and Service, which is green, and Science and Society, which is blue. So again, those are just the themes. Those themes are threaded throughout the programs that are put on for the students. They're also put in with a project that you would do in a freshman seminar class. And really, that's it. And what's great is, say you're in the Undergraduate College of Human Development, but the Arts, Cultures, and Humanities undergraduate college puts on a really cool program, then you could go to that.
And what's great is, say you're in the...
Sorry about that. So in terms of the experience, so you could be a commuter student and you can also be a residential student.
Yes.
Within the undergraduate colleges.
Yep. So we combine them. It doesn't matter if you're commuter or resident. We have a mixture of all in each undergraduate college, just like we have a mixture of all majors in each undergraduate college.
Okay. You talked a little bit about the programming. So what are some of the things that happen in the undergraduate colleges throughout the first year?
So the first thing that happens in your undergraduate college is your orientation, which I know we're going to get into more detail a little later on in this chat, so I won't go into too much detail with that. And the second thing would be your opening weekend activities. That's also has a lot to do with your undergraduate college. Then in the fall semester, you take a freshman seminar course through your undergraduate college. This course is really where we get into helping you make that transition from high school to college, because the topics are things like How do you learn to manage your time when you're coming from a high school schedule of, say, 7 in the morning to 3 p.m. to a high school sport to dinner to homework to bed, to a college schedule where your first class might not be till 12 o'clock noon, and then you have a break, and then you have a club meeting maybe at 3, and then you have classes from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m., and then you have a study lab after. So one of the topics is time management. Another is, how do you connect to your faculty or your professors who are teaching, maybe a class of 100 students who is on the stage and lecturing? We're going to help you get to know those professors and tell you how to approach them during office hours. And a lot of the time is spent in the seminar class connecting you to the resources that are available on campus, like the tutoring center or the counseling center, and also introducing you to over 400 clubs that we have on this campus. So the freshman seminar class in the fall is really helping you connect to the university and learn everything you need to know to be successful here. And then in the spring, you take another seminar class that is taught by a faculty member here, and it's topic-based. So instead of a general information class about how to be successful here, the 102 faculty member can teach about anything they want. So for example, there could be a cooking class or a yoga class or a Harry Potter class. And what's cool is you take this class with that faculty member, and based on whatever topic they're teaching, that if you're interested in that and they're interested in that, there's an automatic connection. And both of the seminar classes, I should say, are only 19 students. So it's a really intimate atmosphere where you get to know your peers and get to know the people teaching the class. And then back to the spring seminar where you're with the faculty member, typically this faculty member ends up being a great networking connection. They write letters of recommendations for students. They help get them research opportunities on campus or maybe help them find internships. So both the fall and the spring seminar classes through your undergraduate colleges are really helpful. And then we also put on a lot of programming through the undergraduate colleges, and they usually have to do with the theme of the undergraduate college. So in human development, we have a program called, do you want to go to medical school? And we have an anesthesiologist from Stony Brook University Hospital come over and talk about what you need to be doing as a first-year student to get into medical school. Arts, Cultures, and Humanities does a trip to Broadway. Global Studies does a Global Hunger Initiative program where they talk about hunger issues all over the world. So depending on the theme of the college, the programming will be based on that. And so that helps also to connect you to things here at Stony Brook, but also beyond Stony Brook, which is really cool.
Great. Are there any types of leadership opportunities within the undergraduate colleges?
Yes. And your first leadership opportunity will actually come up during your first semester. You'll hear about it. It's called our Undergraduate College Fellows Program. You would actually apply as a first semester freshman in November. And in the spring, if you're selected, you take a class with your college advisor. So for example, if you were an HDV, you would take a class with me, and we do a lot of student development and peer mentoring and student leadership topics and classes, and prepare you to then help out at orientation the following summer and also help out opening weekend. And most importantly, you end up being a TA for the freshman seminar classes. So you'll be a sophomore TAing classes for freshmen, which is really great. So as incoming students in your freshman seminar classes, you'll have TAs that are sophomores who were in your seat this time last year.
Right? So since the undergraduate colleges are affiliated with the residential halls,
yes.
Can students still pick their roommates?
So what will happen is you'll be placed into an undergraduate college based on a preference form that you fill out. And if you and say your friend or someone you know are placed in the same undergraduate college, yes, there is that opportunity. However, if you're placed in different undergraduate colleges, you can't be roommates during your first year, but after your first year, you can live wherever you want on campus. So you would have that opportunity to live with them after.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So you also just you answered my next question, which is how are they assigned?
Well, I should mention too, because I mentioned that you'll fill out a preference form. Make sure that you really take the time to look at each undergraduate college's website, watch the videos, read about the themes and the programs that they put on, look who the advisors are, and make sure that you rank them in the right order that you want to rank them in. 93% of our students get placed in their top 2 ranked undergraduate colleges. So there's a good chance you'll get in one of your top 2 choices.
Definitely. So just to recap what the undergraduate colleges are. So basically these are living learning communities for our incoming freshmen. So it'll be during your first year experience. They are affiliated with the residential halls, but you don't have to necessarily be living on campus to be a part of an undergraduate college. It takes a large university of about 17,000 undergrads and shrinks it down for the incoming freshmen. You will get an undergraduate college advisor, perhaps Erica, if you're lucky. And you'll get to see your advisor on a regular basis.
Yep.
The advisors help teach the 102s and the
101s. Yep.
So you'll get to see your advisor. You'll go through all different types of courses, and you'll talk about important things that help assimilate you to the university, like time management, stress management. Yep. So it really kind of helps bring things full circle for you. You're going to be taking these smaller seminar style courses with other students you live with within your undergraduate college and the residential hall. And you'll get to know them very well. You'll have the same interests. So it helps bring everything full circle for our students.
Yeah, we like to say that Stony Brook University will be like your community, but your undergraduate college will be your home. And for those of you that are commuter students, each undergraduate college also has a center that's affiliated with them. And this is a building that's in the quad. However, it's accessible to all students, whether they live on campus or commute. They typically have a place to eat, they have study spaces, they have computer labs, they have programming spaces. So and the freshman seminar classes are in these spaces as well. So this is just another way for you to connect with your peers in your undergraduate college, whether you live on campus or not.
Maybe we should mention Battle of the Undergraduate Colleges.
Oh yeah, so since there are 6 undergraduate colleges, there's a little bit of a competitive nature between the 6 UGCs. We like to, I like to say HDB is the best, but all the advisors feel very strongly about their undergraduate college being the best, as well as the students feel that way too. So we have a friendly competition throughout your whole entire first year that has things like kickball tournaments and video game tournaments and going to the homecoming football game. We do a lot of service-orientated events, and so it's just a way to have the 6 undergraduate colleges compete against each other. And then at the end of the first year, whatever UGC wins a cup, not quite as large as the Stanley Cup, if any of you are hockey fans, but it's pretty big, and it stays in the quad of the winning undergraduate college every year. HDB has won once. I'd like to win again. So we actually have an event tomorrow night. We have a volleyball tournament, so everyone's kind of come out and play volleyball.
Yep. They remind me a lot of the houses in Harry Potter, like Gryffindor, Slytherin.
Yeah.
It's kind of how students identify themselves, and once
do.
they're in it, they are in it.
Yep.
So
Yep. They say like you bleed whatever color you're in. So if you're an HDB, you bleed purple. If you're an SSO, you bleed blue. We have a lot of pride. Students have a lot of pride in their undergraduate colleges.
That's true. And even after their freshman year, sophomores, juniors, they still talk about their undergraduate college experience, and they still ask each other, "Oh, which one were you in?" Right?
Yep, absolutely.
So it's a really great community here on our campus. So some important information. So if you are looking to attend Stony Brook, there are some steps that are important that you will need to enroll. We do have them on our website. It's on the admitted student page, which I believe Jacqueline is going to put the links up for you so you can follow along, then you have the information. We will be talking about orientation in just a little bit, but we just wanted to give you a quick rundown of what those steps are and what they entail. So May 1st is the national deadline for deposits. That's when students need to have made their decision as to which college they're going to be attending. So in order to notify Stony Brook that you want to attend, you'll need to place your tuition deposit, which is about $150. If you're looking to live on campus, you'll also need to place your housing deposit by May 1st. So we can guarantee housing for all 4 years if it is in by May 1st. These can all be done in your solar account. There's also an orientation fee of $300 as well. which also needs to be placed within your solar account. Also by May 1st, it's important that students complete the new student preference form, which Erica had mentioned. So this is where you're going to rank your preference of undergraduate college. So it is very important to check out the UGC website as well to get a good idea of what each college is all about, because that will ultimately make your experience here your first year. So if you're going to be looking to apply for campus housing, after you place your deposit, you'll receive a net ID, which typically comes about 3 or 4 days later. You'll need to go to the housing portal, which is stonybrook.edu/housing/portal. And you'll have to fill out a housing application between May 1st and June 15th. You can also sign up for your meal plans on the housing portal as well. It's important that you accept or decline your financial aid offers in solar, so they need to know that as well. You'll have to complete your health forms before going to orientation. So we do have the PDFs of the health forms on our website in the steps to enroll. And then I believe you just upload them on the student health portal as well. You can download the Guide mobile app. So this will help you from orientation to graduation, send you reminders, all those important things. So leading into orientation, you also will need to submit an advising planning form. So this form is very important in order for you to register for your classes. So on this form, you're going to list if you've received any AP credit, any college credit. This way, we know that you have that credit and that you'll be potentially transferring that credit over so that you're not registered for a class that you may already be getting credit for.
Yeah, we use that form to help prepare us for your arrival at orientation. So make sure that you complete your advising planning form as soon as possible. It will ask you questions like, you checked this off, that this is what you wanted to major in when you applied. Is this still what you intend to major in? And if not, it gives you a new opportunity to tell us what you'd like to major in. It'll also ask you if you plan on being a pre-health student. This means that you plan on applying to medical school, dental school, veterinary school, that you're pre-PA. So make sure if you're any of those things, or pre-PT, that you tell us that you're pre-health. And then it'll also automatically upload your SAT scores, your ACT scores. It allows you to self-report your college credits as well as AP credits. And we're going to take all of that information and we're going to look at each and every single one of you individually and make very specific individual course recommendations based on all of that information. So it's really important that you complete that as soon as you can.
And if you're looking to get an idea ahead of time, we do have on our website a chart of all the AP exams. And that will tell you, depending on what score you get, how many credits will transfer over and what it'll fulfill in terms of our core liberal arts and science requirements. College credit, typically, if you're receiving credit from an accredited university or college, usually a grade of C or higher will get you credit at Stony Brook. Also, there are placement exams for our students. Erica, do you want to talk a little bit about what they are?
Sure. And just before I go on to placement exams, just make sure that if you're taking AP credits, that you go through College Board to have those sent, and if you're taking college credits, that you go through that university that you took the courses through and have them send official transcripts. Your high school will not be sending us transcripts with your college credit courses. With placement exams, if you're bringing in sometimes AP credits or SAT scores, you won't have to take placement exams. A lot of times you'll be contacted if you need to take these, but there is a math placement exam. If you plan on being in any of our STEM programs, it's really important that if you don't have AP math, or I should say AP calculus, AP statistics will not fulfill an entry-level STEM math requirement. So if you don't have AP Calc or have a college credit pre-calc or calc, you will have to take the math placement exam. Also, we have a writing placement exam. However, most students place out of this with their SAT scores. You will be contacted if you have to take a writing placement exam. We also have an online chemistry placement exam. This is for students who are considering most of the majors in our STEM area. Also, if you are pre-health, so you can be an art major and still plan on applying to medical school. If that is the case, if you are pre-health, you will have to take the online chemistry placement exam. And know that this exam can take up to 10 to 15 hours. It's not something you'll do in one sitting. So make sure you plan ahead of time to make sure you complete that before you come to orientation. And then we also have foreign language placement exams. Again, some of you may have taken an AP language that will probably place you out of this, but if you haven't taken an AP language, then you most likely will want to take a foreign language placement exam to see what level of foreign language you get placed into, or if you place out of having to take any languages.
So the chemistry one you can take in advance.
Yes.
If you need to take it.
Yes, math you can take in advance. Writing you would take in advance. And I mean, all of them you can take in advance and should take in advance if you can.
And do they physically need to be here at Stony Brook to take it?
No, the online chemistry placement exam you can take online. The math placement exam, they have various locations. They offer them in the city in Manhattan. They also offer them on our main campus. The writing placement exam is online, and the foreign language placement exam, you'll have to come to campus.
Okay.
So if it is difficult for you to come to campus, say you live out of state, the foreign language placement exam you can wait and take once you're here in the fall. But if you do live on Long Island or in the city, I would say try to schedule that to come to campus to take that exam.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Another step that needs to be taken is to send your final official transcript, so your final high school transcript, final college transcript if you're transferring over credit, and AP scores need to be officially sent from College Board. If you are purchasing a health insurance, you need to purchase health insurance or apply for a waiver if you already have health insurance. Again, a lot of this is all on our admitted student website. And then you also need to attend orientation part 1 and part 2. So we will now be discussing orientation. So Erica, you want to talk a little bit about what happens during orientation part 1?
Sure. So orientation part 1 is your official welcome to the university. When you arrive, you can bring family members. We have a family member agenda and we have a student agenda. So when you do arrive, if you bring family members, know that you will be separated. Families will go here and students will come with us. You'll have an opportunity to check in with an advisor. If for some reason we're missing, say, AP credits or college credits, you'll be marked so that you can come speak to us before you go into your actual orientation. And then you get to be introduced to Stony Brook, and you get to meet Wolfie, and you get to learn the fight song. You'll get to meet with your undergraduate college team. So I said you'll have an advisor and a faculty director and a quad director. They'll all be there. You get to meet with about half of your undergraduate college at your orientation, so probably about 200 students, 250 students. You'll get to do some fun activities where you get to know each other as well as your undergraduate college theme and team. And then you'll spend your afternoon enrolling in your courses. So when you leave here after orientation, you'll have your schedule set to go for the fall. And like I said, we're going to use that advising planning form that you're going to complete. We're going to use all of that information so that when you come to orientation, you'll already have course recommendations made for you. You don't have to worry about figuring out what it is you're going to have to take, because we'll be able to tell you. And you'll work with advisors and amazing orientation leaders to hopefully have a really fun day and get enrolled in classes.
So orientation part 1 typically happens sometime in July or beginning of August.
Yeah.
Orientation part 2 is considered move-in weekend.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about what that entails?
Yeah. So we call it opening weekend. It's where we welcome all of the students back, but first year students get to move in that Friday. And there'll be activities all weekend for you that will help you connect to the campus resources that are available, as well as it'll help you learn about all the opportunities that are available. Saturday or Sunday, you'll actually have a lot of time with your undergraduate college team and peers again. This will be the first time that you get to meet all of the students in your undergraduate college. You'll come together after meeting half of the orientation part 1. Again, you'll get to do some activities that have to do with the theme of the college. You'll get to meet the team again, which is really great. And you'll do some other activities that the orientation office has planned for you that, again, will help you start making that transition from high school to college, specifically Stony Brook. And it's a really fun, packed weekend.
Is orientation mandatory?
It is. So it is required, orientation part 1, as well as orientation part 2. If you are an out-of-state student, we do work with you to make sure that you get enrolled in classes if you can't attend an actual orientation part 1. But orientation part 2 is required for all students, whether you live on campus or commute or from here or from out of state. So make sure that you, if your family's making vacations, it should not be around that time.
Or if you've already made your vacation plans and you get your orientation date and it happens to be the same week, then just call orientation as soon as you get that date. Their number is 631-632-6710, just to keep in mind. So in terms of the timeline and the way things work, so May 1st, you need to have your new student preference form filled out and your deposits handed in. Then usually toward middle of May, end of May is when you'll get your undergraduate college assignment, and then that will determine your orientation date. Correct. So that's kind of how it all leads into one. Okay, so in terms of picking roommates, so once you have your undergraduate college assigned, you can go into the housing portal. You can actually, so you can pick your roommates there, and you can also pick the actual physical room within the building that you want to live in. So that's all done through the housing portal, which is pretty cool. And as I mentioned before, we have, you do have to do the housing form anytime between May 1st and June 15th.
Just remember that if your friend who you wanted to be a roommate is not in the same undergraduate college as you, you cannot ask to move undergraduate colleges, and you cannot ask to be roommates with that student, at least for your first year. Right. And a lot of students will say, once I'm placed in an undergraduate college, can I change it? And the answer is no.
No. But think of it this way. By having someone in a different undergraduate college that you know, it's just another opportunity to meet new people in your undergraduate college, but also get to know other students in another undergraduate college. So,
and you can go to their events, they can come to your events, you can meet their friends, they can come meet your new friends. So I actually say it's to an advantage if you spread yourselves out. That way you're, getting to meet new people.
Absolutely.
And all of them.
Sometimes students want to know, what should I bring to orientation? You do need to bring a government photo ID. That is important. You need to make sure it is you, right? You should also bring copies of your health forms. So even though you upload them on your portal, it's important to just bring copies with you just in case. It's also important to bring copies of those AP scores and college transcripts. So anything that you might be getting credit for.
Please bring copies of both AP and college credits. I cannot stress enough how important that is to bring copies of those with you.
How many days is orientation?
Just one day. Usually check-in is around 8:30 a.m. and you can expect to be here until about 5:30, 6:30 p.m.
Okay, so there's not technically like an overnight experience.
There is an overnight experience option. Usually out of area students sometimes can opt to do that, but there is not a required overnight experience.
Okay, gotcha. We do also have the hotel on our campus too, the Hilton Garden Inn. So if your families are coming with you, if you're coming from a far distance, it's important that they probably make their reservations in advance once you know your orientation date. And placement exams, we mentioned before, some of those can be taken at orientation as well. So what happens if I want to change my major?
Okay, so again, when you're completing your advising planning form, if this is when you know that you want to change your major, there's an opportunity to tell us then. Say that you don't decide until mid-July that you want to change your major. When you go upstairs in the afternoon of your orientation to register for classes, there'll be an opportunity to tell the advisor in the room that you'd like to change your major. And depending on what you want to change it to, you might actually be able to physically change it that day. Once you get here in the fall, if say mid-semester you decide you want to change your major, there's what's called a major minor declaration period that will open up again in November. So you'll have the opportunity to change it then. And just so you know, you can change your major anytime you would like to during, your time here at Stony Brook, as long as it's during those major minor declaration periods, which generally are open for about 6 months every semester. Well, it's longer than semester, it carries over into your breaks. So We just advise you to always talk to an advisor first before you make anything official, and talk about, you know, what types of courses you're going to have to take based on what you're changing to.
We usually recommend that you have your major set by the end of your sophomore year.
Yes.
Because then it's less likely that you will then
You'll still be able to graduate on
exactly
time.
within 4 years.
Yeah, we say by your 57th credit, you should know what you want to do. And if you don't, if you're one of those students that are still exploring, that's okay too. We will have course suggestions ready for you that will hopefully help you explore those, but also still help you make degree progress. We'll be recommending what's called Stony Brook curriculum courses. And we also are trained to help you kind of figure out what you want to do. And we have other great resources on campus that can help you figure out what you want to do, like our Career Center, who has career and major counselors in their department.
That's very important.
Yep.
We did have a question regarding the undergraduate colleges and choosing them, and are they done by major? So basically, you choose your undergraduate college by ranking your preference
Of the theme.
of the undergraduate college in your new student preference form.
Yes.
In your Solar account.
Has nothing to do with your major.
Right.
So a biology major can go in any of the undergraduate colleges. It would be, I would say to that biology major, well, what theme seems most interesting to you? Are you into the arts, or are you into information and technology studies? So any major can go into any undergraduate college. It's not going to affect your schedule. It's not going to affect what classes you're taking or the major that you're in. It's strictly based on your interest in the theme of that undergraduate college.
If you ask yourself, what do I like to do in my free time? That'll help you determine what your undergraduate college is.
And sometimes your major will overlap with your interest. If you're a student who's really into the sciences and research, and those are your hobbies as well as what you want to pursue as a career, then science and society might be a good fit for you. But if you're a student who's, you know, into the say chemistry, but you love music, then arts, cultures, and humanities might be a good fit for you. I would just, you know, like we said, look at the website, look at the themes, and see what one interests you the most.
For example, arts, culture, and humanities, they have a black box theater within the residential halls. They also have music practice rooms also. So that's how they facilitate those interests with other students they're living with who have that same interest. Something also to think about is you're going to meet students within your major easily. Undergraduate colleges is a way to meet other students that have
similar interests with you
also. So that's just something to keep in mind as well.
Absolutely.
Definitely keep the questions coming. I see Jacqueline's currently writing one down. We're just waiting to see what it is. When do you get your orientation date?
So when you preference your undergraduate college, once you fill out that preference form, usually around the 2nd to 3rd week of May is when we'll do our first round of placement. So the earlier you fill out that preference form, the more apt you are to get your first choice, and the more apt you are to get an earlier orientation date. So that's really important. As soon as you can, fill out that preference form. As soon as you're assigned an undergraduate college, you will then be assigned an orientation date. So you will probably find that out towards the end of May. And all of the first year student orientations will start the week after 4th of July. I don't know what that Monday is off the top of my head. It's either July, maybe 7th or 8th, and go until the end of the first week of August, which I think is like August 5th or 6th. So it'll be somewhere in there.
Excellent.
Oh, July was close. It's July 9th is that Monday.
Okay, so thank you everyone for writing in your questions. We're always happy to answer any questions that you may still have. You can always email us at enroll@stonybrook.edu. You can always give us a call here in admissions, 631-632-6868. We wish you very well. We hope that, you know, making your decisions and everything is a smooth process. But again, if you have any questions, just let us know. And we look forward to seeing our future Seawolves.
Absolutely.
Have a great